Hey guys, so today this is the look I'm going to be doing for you. It is a neutral, kind of very smoky eye with a pop of glitter on the lid. Big lashes, kind of going back to my roots of like my intense smoky looks that I really like to do. And then a nude lip to go with it that just still has a little bit of color so it's not too nude and too blanked out. I used a lot of products in this video that I've never used before, so I'm excited for you guys to see those products and see how they work. This is going to be just kind of me doing the makeup, and I'm going to do a voiceover just because the last video, it's like every single time I try to talk as I'm doing a tutorial, it ends up being like an hour-long video that I have to try to condense into like 20 minutes, and it's just too long. So I'm just gonna do a voiceover to make this a little less lengthy. But yeah, this is the look I'm doing. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please feel free to let me know of any videos you want me to do that are not like necessarily makeup tutorials. I feel like I personally always tend to do makeup tutorials, and I think a lot of people like videos other than that to kind of get to know your personality, and just to kind of switch it up and not just be a makeup tutorial every single time. So if there are any particular videos you would like me to do that are not makeup tutorials, please let me know down in the comments. And yeah, let's just get into the video. All right, so as always, I am prepping my eyes first, and this is the MAC 24-Hour Eye Base, and I like to put that all over my lid as well as on my eyebrows to help my eyebrow pencil stay a lot longer. So then I'm going to take my concealer, the Rainforest of the Sea concealer by Tarte, and use that under my eyebrows just to conceal a little bit. I'm growing them out right now, so I have a bunch of stragglers. So I'm just trying to kind of cover those up just a bit and make them look less noticeable, but also kind of to help the shadow blend. So I'm taking this shade from the Jaclyn Ho palette. I don't know the colors, so that's why I'm kind of pointing at them for you guys, because I didn't memorize colors or anything. But this is my favorite transition shade from the palette, and I'm just using this Morphe brush to blend that in my crease and sort of out to the sides a little bit. And then I'm mixing these two. I do know these ones. This is Butter and Pooter, I believe. And then using a smaller brush from Morphe, I am blending that in my crease also, just a little lower down towards the crease so that we can start kind of building up our transition and building up the kind of the look from light to dark that we're going for. So just blending that in again with that little brush. And then I like to kind of look back every once in a while and just to see how even I am. So then I'm taking these two deeper colors and mixing them together, and then starting to press this in the outer corner of my eye and putting it there first because I really want the intensity there for the most part. And then I am going to blend that about halfway across my crease. But again, I'm putting my brush in the outer corner first to get the intensity there. And then once the brush is kind of doesn't have much product left on it, that's when I start to blend it across. And if you notice, my eyes are kind of like the skin is getting a little looser. So I notice I'm getting these little lines, which annoys the crap out of me when I'm blending towards like my inner corner. So frustrating. But to help that, I take the bigger brush I used first with the first transition color, and I just kind of buffed over that to make sure it's all blended. Now I'm going back in with my concealer and this small matte concealer brush, and I like to put a layer of this on the lid, and then I'll kind of tilt my head down as you see, and that gives me sort of a map of how high I need this concealer to go. And I'm doing just to, you know, carve out the crease a little bit, and this is just going to make it more of like a nice detailed, precise kind of look. So I'm going to put that all over the lid, and then I like to take my little blending brush, can't talk, and sort of blend out the edge so that it fades really nice from the concealer to the eyeshadow. So now I'm going to go in with the MAC Fashion Fanatic palette. This is one of my favorites. And I'm taking that shimmery champagne color. This is a foiled shadow, so it's like intense, glittery metallic. And this was with my brush completely dry. I didn't wet it at all. It really sticks really well to any base you put down, and you don't really need to use these wet to get the really intense metallic effect. They kind of are like one of my favorite formulas, and they're definitely my favorite shadows in all of these palettes. So I'm just taking this small like old brush from some old MAC collection, and any flat brush will do, and I just kind of packed that right on top of the concealer and went right around that edge that I left with the concealer to make sure it was still nice and crisp with the foiled shadow. So then I'm going to go in with the two darkest colors again on this smaller brush and just really pack that in the outer corner and blend those into the foiled shadow so there's a nice transition from that lighter foiled shadow color into the deep colors on the outer corner. And then I'm going to apply my eyeliner. This is the MAC Brushstroke Liner in the color Black. Now, I was having like a rough day with liner. I don't know why. It was like being such a brat with me. I think my eye shape is really changing as I'm getting older, and my eyes are kind of falling just a little bit, I've noticed. So it's been a little harder for me to do liquid liner and all that kind of stuff. And I almost feel like my eyes are going bad. Like I'm having issues making them even. There's something wrong. But, you know, I kind of did my best. At this point, though, in my makeup game, like, I don't even care if they're not perfectly even. Like, I'm not going to drive myself nuts. As long as they're close enough, I'm happy. So I put that on, and then I'm taking the black color from the Jaclyn Hill palette, and then I'm going to use that in the outer corner because I felt like it was too much of a harshness from the black to the brown, and I wanted it to be a little more smoky and sort of fade a little more. So I'm just layering on that black shadow on top of the liner and then sort of into the brown with that flat brush. And I really like to pack it on right at the liner part so that it's really deep there on the edge of the liner. And then I just go back in with my blending brush to soften out the edge. As you can see, I like barely touch the edges just so they blend because you don't want the black to go like all the way in too much. So then I did my lashes and mascara. I used MAC 48s with the MAC in Extreme Dimension mascara. And now I'm going to move on to my face before I do the rest of my eyes. So I'm using my Makeup Forever Stick foundation again. As I said in my last video, I really love this stick foundation. Works really well, great full coverage. I definitely just have to moisturize before I put it on because if I don't moisturize heavily before I put it on, it can accentuate some dryness a little bit, but it's not too bad. So I'm just blending that in with my Real Techniques brush, which I really love to blend this foundation in with. And then I like to go make sure I get like as close to my eyebrows as possible so they don't look like they're floating. But I do like, you know, the best you can. You don't want to go over the edges of your brows. And then we're going to do the concealer. Again, I'm using that Tarte concealer. This concealer is sort of just like, for me. Like, it's good. It works, I guess. But it's not like, you know, like, oh my God, I can't live without it type of concealer. Like, it's good, but, you know, I'm probably not going to get it again. I think the next concealer I'm going to get is the NARS or the Urban Decay because I got those little samples, you know, you can get at Sephora and while you're waiting in line. I got the small versions of both of them, and I really like both of them. So it's kind of a toss-up. I'll probably do both eventually. And then I'm just setting my under eye concealer again with my Studio Fix Perfecting Powder. Like I said in my last video, this is like holy grail status powder for me. Just extremely smoothing. It's so good. And then for the rest of my face, I just set with my Mineralize Skinfinish. The color used this time was medium because I'm a little paler right now. But I tend to go between like light plus, medium, or medium golden is like my darkest one I'll use. And I love this Morphe brush. I think this is the G3? No, the E3. E3, I think. I love that brush. So now I'm going to finish my under eye. I'm taking the same transition colors I used in the crease. So that lighter shade, the two medium shades, and then the two, actually just the two medium shades. Yeah, the lighter shade first, and then the two medium shades, using the same brush I used on my top lid, and just blending those across the bottom of my eye. I use this fluffier brush just to get more of a diffused look because I didn't want it really harsh or like very linear. I wanted it to be just kind of blown out under the eye. So I did that and did some mascara. And then to finish my face, I used the Sephora bronzer Los Cabos. I used to use this a lot before, but I'm like, this is one bronzer I always go back to. It's just like super light and neutral. So I find it looks really good, whatever my skin tone is and with whatever kind of look I'm doing. And again, I'm using another Morphe brush. A lot of the brushes I'm using are Morphe because I've been getting the Morphe monthly kits for so long. I kind of just have a lot of them at this point now. So I generally mix between my Morphe and my MAC brushes. They're like my favorites. So I'll just kind of grab whatever's clean, but those two are definitely my favorite brands. So just putting that in the usual places I contour, around my face, kind of under my cheekbones. And then for blush, this is the that really cool looking floral blush that came out with Max Fruity Juicy collection for the summer. I can't remember the name right now. I'm totally blanking. It'll be down below. But I basically just mixed all the colors together, and you get this sort of like peachy, neutral type of color with a little bit of mauve to it. It's really nice. So I use the same brush I used for my bronzer to apply that. And now I'm doing my highlight using Kitty Cat and Glow Getter from the Nicole Guerriero palette, and just using my MAC 133 brush to apply this. I feel like I always make these faces whenever I put on my highlighter, because it's like my favorite thing to do, and I almost like die a little inside when I see how nice it looks. Like, highlight's my favorite thing. I think it's everyone's favorite thing. But yeah, I just mix them together and then use this little brush to put it on. And as always, I do my cheekbones, but then I kind of go a little crazy and put it down the whole center of my face and like all over my forehead. I think it just makes the face look really nice and kind of glowy and natural. Now I'm going in with this Charlotte Tilbury lip. This lip liner, I can't recall the name right now. Again, it'll be down below. I think it's Pillow Talk. I can't remember if it's the lipstick is Pillow Talk or this lip liner is Pillow Talk. One or the other. But I'm using this liner, and then I'm going to go in with a Charlotte Tilbury lipstick on top. Again, I will put the names down below because I can't recall at this moment in time. But I love her lip liners and lipsticks. Stay on forever. So here's the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you like the look. Please let me know in the comments what you think and any other ideas you have for me to do a video on. And I will see you next time. Bye. Hydrate.